Hey, I'm Gauri. I'm just another Toastmaster. I happen to be the International Director from Region 13, and I'm currently located in Bangalore, India. If you're ever in town, give me a holler. So good to meet you all.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Alicia, how about you?
Well, I'm going to say, g'day, how's it going, mate? Yes, that's how I'd introduce myself. I'm from Sydney, Australia, and it is very hot here today. It's about 35, 36 degrees Celsius here today, and it's a day after Christmas, so it's very exciting. And like Gary, I'm just another Toastmaster, boring. There's nothing exciting about me. I just happen just to go around the world in Toastmasters, and that's about as exciting as my life gets. Thank you, Pat.
There you go. That's how they define themselves. And at this moment, I also want to urge all of you, how would you describe yourself? If you have this chance to describe to your Toastmasters friend, or even friends, a part of Toastmasters. One of the very, very crucial things, definitely, I want to ask right now, what is the definition of success? I definitely would like to. Yes, now I'm going to eye on Alicia. Alicia, would you like to start first? What is your definition of success?
Success is defined by the person's own personal traits. What you might define as success may not be what I define as success. In fact, I define success at the moment as someone who is wishing to step outside their comfort zone and willing to go that extra step. So for me, success, it's not about having just a career. It's not about having the kids. It's not about having the picket fence and the house. It's about stepping outside of your comfort zone and actually taking ownership of who you are and your life and your choices. Thanks, Pat.
Wow, I do see that stepping out of the comfort zone for Alicia right now is actually a form of success. I'm not sure how many of you can resonate that, because a lot of times we may equate success always with material things. Let's hear from Gauri. Gauri, definitely, I would like to hear your definition.
For me, success, I think over the years, I've split it into two parts. The first one is as a management consultant or as a professional, as a team member, as a team leader. Success means achieving the goals, checking all the boxes of the roles and responsibilities I've signed up for. The second part, which is for me personally, is while I'm checking those goals and requirements that I have as a team member or as a team leader, am I growing personally? Is there growth? Am I better today than I was yesterday? And for me, that is success. So it's a two-part thing.
I like that. Am I better today than yesterday? Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and type your own version of success. There is no right and wrong. I believe in our different phase in our journey, we all see success differently. And go ahead and type your chat box. What is success to you right now? Now, if I were to throw a question, now this was never practiced before, so I'm gonna challenge our panelists on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being super, ultra successful. How would you rate yourself? This is so exclusive only for today's audience, all right? How would you rate yourself? Who wants to start first? Yes, Gauri.
I would say I'm about a 6 or a 6.5. Above average. I'm pretty happy with what I've gotten, but I'm always striving for more. Not so much for success, but to meet the goals, to have those expectations, and to grow. That's the most important thing for me. Not grow in size, but grow mentally.
So. Not grow in like horizontally, but grow spiritually as a person. Alicia, I'm curious. How would you rank yourself?
That's a great question. I would probably say at the moment, because my life has changed a lot over the last 8 to 9 months, especially with my health, I would say from a personal standpoint, from where I was 8 months ago, I would say definitely a 7 or 8, because where I was 8 months ago, I'm not the same person I am now. 8 months ago, I was working a job I absolutely hated. I was also in a career that I hated, and I was not going anywhere where I could motivated But now I look at where I am, and even though I'm not, financially rich, I'm not doing stuff like everyone else, like traveling the world and stuff, but my health, despite what I've gone through with the hips going on me, having arthritis in the back, I look at it actually as success in the sense that I've been able to break boundaries. I've been able to free myself from the shackles. So I consider myself from a health point of view, probably a 7 or an 8, but from my own growth point of view, probably about a 4 or a 5.
Yeah.
Simply because I'm going through the motions. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally feel you, because it's so hard sometimes when we are bombarded with different challenging things in life. The moment when we are able to step out, that is a win for me. So I do appreciate the fact that you're so consistent, be yourself. In fact, before today's session, I did my research on both Gauri and Alicia. They have something in common. Always challenging the norm. And no matter what happened to them, they are always able to turn around things. And to me, that is the spirit of resilience that I highly, highly adore. And I'm here to highlight all these important values so that all of us can resonate. So ladies and gentlemen, to all of you out there, how would you rank yourself in terms of your journey to success? What number would you give to yourself? We are not here to judge. There's no judgment here, but the only thing we are doing this is to reflect and to create some awareness. And of course, the next very, very exciting question that I would like to ask them, definitely, what is the highest success that they can achieve, they have achieved so far in their own understanding, and at the same time, they can bring a prop, bring anything to actually symbolize their success. So that can be anything, and it's a free expression of their own success, of their own achievement, because we definitely would love to celebrate their achievement, their success with all of us. Go ahead. Let me see. Gauri, I'm kind of curious. What do you have for yourself?
Wow. I think I'm going to tie it back to how you introduced me during my term as district director. Led the district, very fortunate to lead an amazing district and an amazing team of leaders to the #1 position in the world. Now, I don't know how long many of all of you have been in Toastmasters, but at the convention, the district directors every year get to carry the flag of their country. And in 2015, I was very honored and privileged to carry the flag of India, which was a huge moment for me. But in 2016, as immediate past district director, I was given the honor to carry the flag of Toastmasters International. And that was even more emotional because we happened to be the first district, or the #1 district in the world that day. And as I carried the flag, while I thought about, while I was praying that my sari didn't fall off because the flag was heavy and my sari was loose, it brought back memories of the entire year. If any one of you have served in the district position, you know that being a district officer is not easy. There are obstacles, there are challenges, there's always some sort of, I wouldn't say always, but sometimes there are conflicts going on, and my year was no different. We had all of those and more. In the elections, everyone was pitted against another person. But what was the best thing about that year is, in spite of personal turmoil, in spite of conflicts, in spite of agreements and disagreements, everyone in the team, and in fact, the entire district, kept the team's goal much higher than the personal goal. So it didn't matter whether they won or lost. They wanted to make sure that the team's goal of being successful was met. And I thought that was beautiful. We had a great team of leaders come out from that year. We've had 8 or 9 district directors come from that year, a couple of region advisors now. So I'll always be proud and honored to have led that wonderful team of leaders that year, 2015, 2016.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So it's the teamwork that really makes the dream work, and that privileged to be part of that entire manifestation of the entire team. To Gauri was one of the most heartwarming and it's so fulfilling, right? To be part of it and to be part of the leader who saw how the entire thing get manifested. Thank you so much for sharing. I guess that's the reason why some of us would actually aspire to go beyond our club level to serve in your area, in your division, even beyond district. And Alicia has definitely been one of the very interesting leader. I just say she goes beyond her comfort zone. She's not only serving in District 70. Once upon a time, she was the past district admin manager, but she actually went beyond. She served as a district PR manager in District 100. And right now she is actually the 100 program quality director. So Alicia, I definitely would like to see what is your highest achievement so far that you see in yourself.
Well, you said to bring the props, and I'm wearing my favorite colors are green and red. Does anyone know what this symbolizes? Gary, you know what this symbolizes, don't you? No? I was actually the first person to help charter the first open community club in Bangladesh back in 2015. That's why I'm wearing the green today, because that symbolizes for me my greatest success in Toastmasters. It was actually in January, February of 2015 when I was approached by Muhammad Habibul Islam on Facebook, of all things Facebook. And these were the days pre-Zoom. These were the days pre-WebEx, pre-MSN Teams. These were the days when it was more the dial-up thing of going on to Skype, and Skype would drop out after about 5 or 10 minutes. And that for me was my greatest success, because I actually had to go outside of my comfort zone and to be able to contact people in Bangladesh. I was up at midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, trying to charter this club and to be that lifeline for Habib and also the other 2 guys who were on the ground in Dhaka in Bangladesh. Now, he actually had to move all the way from Chittagong to Dhaka to start this club. And that took a lot of, courage for him. And it's not just me, it was for him to actually go there and to do this. He had to give up his job, a lot of other stuff he had to give up just for me. And this was to get my Distinguished Toastmaster Award. This was my only chance of getting a DTM, strange but true. As a result, because of that, that club has become the #1 club in Bangladesh. This country has gone from having 1 or 2 clubs. They had some corporate clubs there, 1 or 2 clubs. Now they've got about 30 to 40 clubs in that country. And within the next 3 to 5 years, they will likely be a district. That is my greatest success. That's not my only success. Back in 2020, Pat, do you remember that young lady who was autistic and gave that 17-minute speech?
Yeah.
That for me was one of my other greatest highlights. This young member, she had autism and it was quite severe. And we had only been hearing her speak for 30 to 40 seconds a meeting. And then I said, I really would love to see you do a speech. She didn't just do a speech, she spoke for 17 minutes and 25 seconds. And that is someone with autism and also the low functioning version of autism. So very hard to communicate. And when she spoke and when she did that speech for 17 minutes and that 29 seconds, we all broke down in tears. Pat was there. There was about 40 people at that call that day. And it was the most amazing experience because I had mentored her for that entire year. And I can tell you that was what I consider one of my greatest successes in Toastmasters. Seeing a person with autism being able to speak and deliver a speech in under 17, 18 minutes. We never thought that was possible, but it happened.
I mean, I can still recall like the moment, like the time when I was there, I was like absolutely, I was being blown away and of course getting really emotional because we all believe all human beings, they have that untapped potential in them. Is whether the environment, whether the people around them are conducive enough to give them the space to grow. And that really comes from a space of we're not going to judge them because all human beings, we all learn differently and we are all different. And I really believe I see with my own eyes how Alicia and Gauri, they are able to build leaders, building leaders in the sense that, hey, not that, they handpick those leaders, but leaders who are ordinary people, ordinary members. Even I myself, I have to tell you, I do have my own challenging moments before I became a Toastmaster. And definitely I'd like to hear from Alicia and Gauri right now, who are the very important key influencers in your life to bring you where you are today, because it's so amazing that you guys have really evolved to be a giant right now. But before that, I'd like to find out who were behind you. Gauri, who were behind you?
I think it was my college senior who told me to join Toastmasters because during graduation, we had to give a presentation as part of our graduation thesis. And I failed pretty badly. And he said, I think you need Toastmasters. But it took me 2 years to actually step into a Toastmasters club. I thought Toastmasters was a place where people would tell me that my speaking sucked, that I was so bad, and I had to be a professional to be a Toastmaster. But then I started working after college, and I realized that I was the biggest obstacle in my own success. My fear of speaking to clients, my fear of presenting was coming in my own success path. So I took the courage and knocked on a Toastmasters club door and went in. Since then, yes, there are a few people that I speak to a lot more than others, just because they know me. I can run my ideas through them. But I've kind of kept the entire world as my mentor. There's something you can learn from everybody. I believe that only if you are open to learning. So that part is very, very important. So there are people that you meet that you really pick up good things from, and there are people you meet that you learn, oh, this is not what I want to ever do in my life. But either way, you learn. So as long as you are open to learning, I'm sure you will learn from every single person that you meet in this world. So the world is my mentor at this moment.
Awesome. The world is your mentor. Thank you. Thank you for the very, very strong wisdom. Alicia, how about you?
That's a really hard question to answer, because I've had so much success over the last 12, 13 years, especially the last 2 years. When I started Toastmasters back in 2010, so that's how old I am when it comes to Toastmasters. I'm like an ancient fossil of Toastmasters. I joined simply because I couldn't even pick up my phone. I literally could not pick up my mobile phone or cell phone, depending on what part of the world you're from. And I was actually literally a hermit up in my room. I couldn't even get out of my room, let alone come to a Toastmasters club. And I thought they were all nutcases. I thought I was going to some cults, the talking cult. That's what I called it, the speaking and talking cult. And then it was, you learn by process and through different people. Over the years, I've had some wonderful people who have provided me wonderful leadership and mentorship. I think one of the most recognized ones would be Vicky Ferrer from the Philippines. She was from the Middle East. She's definitely been a highlight. And in recent years, Gauri, I met Gauri online a few years ago in 2020 at a Korean meeting of all things. It was like a joint Korean, Japanese, Chinese, and Japanese, Chinese, Korean, and there was another country there as well, I think the Philippines, and Taiwan was also there. And then I've ventured into the USA, and it's just opened up a lot of different doors. So the Lucas family household is the other one who has played a huge role and impact in my life. There's been many people, and as they say, it takes a village to raise a child, and it's definitely taken a village to raise this child to get to where I am today.
Thank you. Thank you for the very, very heartwarming sharing. Ladies and gentlemen, right now, I would also like you to take a few minutes to honor your mentor right now. You don't have to tell who you are, but definitely you have somebody who has impacted your life, whether it's in Toastmasters or even non-Toastmasters. Go ahead and send some emoticon and type in the chat, because we definitely want to recognize it's so important to have role models, mentors in our lives. And of course, that also gives us the reason why we continue our self-growth, so that we can help somebody in the future. Not just age-wise. I'm kind of young, compared to Alicia and Gauri. But I think biologically, they are all my, like, I'm the elder sister, okay? That one I'm kind of very, I'm very sure, like, you know, that's how we relate to one another. So ladies and gentlemen, you have somebody mentor in your life, go ahead and just type your name in the chat box. You don't have to tell us who they are. And send them some emoticon. Let's send them love. If you know somebody who has helped you in your leadership journey, and our photographer will be capturing the screen again. Ladies and gentlemen, send some love to them, to your mentors. Yes, Toastmasters are really big on mentors. In fact, we had like a whole program dedicated, Powerways mentoring program. Not sure how many of you are on there, but I also want to champion the importance of having a mentor, because I've seen, you know, people, mentee of Alicia and of course Gauri, who have blossomed so much because of, you know, that special nutrients they are giving to their mentees. And this is what we are experiencing right now. That's why we also want to recognize the power of mentors. Of course, the next question that I would like to pose right now is actually, what is the number one quality that you look for when we have to talk about success? In terms of personal quality, what would be the one, besides the 4 core values we always embrace? So what will be the number one? Let's see, who would like to start? Yes, Alicia, go ahead.
I think determination. I think if you're not determined to achieve something, then you're not going to be successful. For me, for example, I have to be up at 3-4 o'clock in the morning every single day to be able to be in contact with the USA. If I wasn't determined, I would not be able to do that. In fact, it took me about 6 to 8 weeks to get onto an American time zone to be determined to be successful in being able to achieve this. So if you're not determined and you don't have your goals set, Gauri mentioned before, if you don't have your goals set, then you're not going to be able to achieve success. So you need to be determined, you need to have a plan, and you need to really stick to that plan. So I think determination is, for me, one of the highlights and the keys to being successful and being able to achieve.
Determination. Thank you. How about you, Gauri?
For me, especially when it comes to leadership success, I believe one of the most important characteristics is accountability. It's very easy to be a backstage leader, to say, hey, I'm a leader with a title, but are you accountable? Not responsible, but are you accountable for it? So not only stand up and take those roses, but say, hey, I'm at fault and I'm sorry, the work has been delayed because of my whatever, tardiness, and let me finish up, let me complete the work and hand it over to you. And I think this is not just in Toastmasters, it's even in your professional life, even in your personal life. Are you accountable for what you do? And can you own up to that accountability? I think that's the biggest thing for me, which defines success later.
Yeah, I mean, taking on ownership, right? But Gauri, you know what? A lot of my members, they all want to be accountable, but sometimes life goes on and they just can't keep to their promise. So what would be your advice to them? It's so hard out there.
So in that case, I would say is they want to be responsible for something. Like suppose you're planning a club event, for example, this one, maybe someone wanted to be a timer, maybe someone wanted to be in charge of PR. But at the end of the day, where does the buck stop? If this event is not successful, if you got only 10 people instead of 30 or 40, who is responsible? And probably for this sort of event, it would be the captain of the ship or the club president or whoever is the organizing chair. So there's a huge difference between responsibility and accountability. It's very easy to shrug off responsibility, but accountability is a completely different ballgame. So
yeah. So end of the day, it really boils down to how willing we are to really step out of the comfort zone to take charge and to own this privilege.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You know, serving in a non-profit organization, sometimes it can be a challenge because we are all volunteers And definitely this is, I thought, the space for us to really, I don't know, come out from that normal thinking pattern. Gauri, what would be your advice?
I just wanted to say this, and I don't know who said this, but one of my favorite quotes in this non-profit space is that if you can make volunteers work towards a common cause, then it's going to be so much easy in your professional life because they get money out here. In the volunteer way, you don't get money, and to move the pieces is going to be so much more difficult. So learn your leadership here, learn accountability here. Work's going to be pretty easy once it comes down to it.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Go ahead and type in the chat box if this is what you want. Today is the 26th of December. I wish today would give you a breakthrough so that you can see yourself in Toastmasters differently. Thank you so much. Alicia, I see you're smiling. Probably you have something to add on.
Not really. I think accountability and also integrity. I think this is where those two run side by side. If we don't have integrity, then we're not going to be able to be accountable. So if you say what you're going to say, do what you say, because there is nothing worse than having been there over the last few months, trying to really, you set things up and then people pulling out the last minute. Trust me, it drives me insane. I'm just putting it out there. It drives me insane. And you're trying to organize things, especially when you're a program quality director and you're trying to get things all set up. What people don't realize is there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of grit to be able to get things to a stage. And then someone pulls out 24 hours before, then as the program quality director, you have to try and find another person to fit into the orchestra. And you've got to also realize putting someone else into the center stage is also about how the team works together as well. You can't just pull someone out and then just put them into the center stage. So you've got to work out personalities and all that. So it's all about making sure that when you say you're going to do something, follow through. Fair enough if you're not well, but actually stick with it and actually do it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Very, very concise summary of how we should lead our own self. Being accountable, being an integrable person is the number one rule. If we want to really build ourselves beyond Toastmasters, and this is the best space for us to be that person, because we are all evolving. And that's why, for me, it's a privilege to serve in a top level moving upwards, because this is the space that you really test yourself. And one of the things I thought I got from definitely Gauri and Alicia is that mental toughness, the ability to keep going, just keep going, and eventually you will sense the shift. Yes, I can see Gauri is smiling right now. Yes. Thank you so much. Yes, Gauri, anything to add on?
No, I just wanted to clarify that we are not mentally tough because we are that way. I think we have our weak moments as a leader. We face challenges. There have been many times when Alicia and I have spoken over WhatsApp or just vented our feelings, but that's what friends are for. You know, you hit a bad patch, you talk it through, and then you're all charged up to go ahead in life. So it's not all rosy. Please don't assume that it's ever going to be a rosy path. With every rose comes a thorn, so says the great words of Poison. So that's how it is.
Thank you. Well said. Thank you so much. The time is running out, and before we go to move on to the FAQ session, so we will have both Alicia and Gauri to share with us some of the golden nuggets that you would like to sum it up in 10 words or less for our audience. Now we have 37 at the moment. All of them are all ardent learners. So Alicia, you would like to go first? 10 words.
Sure, absolutely. If someone taps you on the shoulder, this is probably going to be more than 10 words, but if someone taps you on the shoulder this year and says, I see something in you, to remind you anyone of a speech, and I see something in you, but I don't know what it is, just say yes, because I've done yes for the last many few years, and look where I'm sitting at the moment as a program quality director in the USA. If I hadn't have said yes, I wouldn't have gotten where I am. So just say yes. They're my words of wisdom.
Just say yes. She's living in Sydney, but she's program director for District 100, Southern California. To a lot of people, that is absolutely crazy and impossible. But hey, there she is. I've attended numerous sessions hosted by Alicia, and she definitely made me see the art of possibility. When people say not able to, not possible, hey, it's all up to us to define how far we want to go. Thank you so much, Alicia. Gauri.
Thanks, Patricia. I'm actually going to quote Colin Powell, who said it in a much more golden way than I ever could. And he said that there are no secrets to success. Success is the result of preparation, hard work, and learning from failure. So if you are ready to do those three things, you're going to find success. Absolutely. And like Alicia said, just say yes and then go and do those three things.
Yes. Say yes. And if you really have some difficulties or you need help, you can always come to Alicia, Gauri, or myself. We are able to help you. And I guess the beautiful thing about Toastmasters is we are all collectively in this community trying to help one another to be better. And I love the quote that was shared by Gauri, by Colin Powell. Go ahead and help us to type. I want to do a testing right now, see who has very great listening skills. Audience out there, what are the 3 elements that will contribute to success? Okay. Hard work, preparation, what else? Give it a shout. Wow, all of you are, yes, and of course, failure. Thank you so much. Great, thank you. Can we stay muted for some of the guests? Okay, fantastic. Right now, this marks the end of our journey to success. I do believe we all have our own takeaway. And before that, we need to do justice. Definitely send your thank you and send your gratitude, your appreciation to Alicia and Gauri, and let's flood the chat. Of all the sharing right now, which one do you like the best? Which principle or which factor do you like the best so that you can bring to your next 2023? Go ahead and type the chat. The reason why we're doing this, because we want to make sure we are accountable for our presence here on this planet Earth. And we all know our time here are really limited. So if that is the case, why don't we live a purpose-driven life? That is my take. That's why I love Toastmasters, and I get connected with Alicia and with Gauri, and they taught me many different life lessons as well. And it's hard to imagine, right? We are just connected virtually, but that kind of friendship is beyond that virtual screen. So the moment you want to connect with somebody right here, right now, go ahead and connect with them, because you never know, you can be that mentor or the mentee who is going to add value to their life. And we also see some of the very prominent leaders here, like Lucky. Lucky has been here for many decades, and he's still very active, very healthy, and definitely contributes so much to our Toastmasters community. Thank you so much. Now I shall hand the control over to our FAQ question master, Duncan Barr. Duncan, take it away. Duncan, would you like to unmute yourself?
Oh, my apologies for that. I was muted, yes. So frequently asked questions. Well, we haven't had very many questions at all, so I can't really call them frequently asked. So I've been frequently typing into the chat box, please ask us your questions. So because there haven't been any questions coming through, I've got a couple of questions myself. Now, there was this concept of failure that came up here. It's one of my pet subjects, actually, and that is fear of failure is one of the things that really holds us back, really stops us from succeeding, because failure, in my opinion, is one of the greatest learning experiences that we can possibly have. Because when we fail, quite often we when we fail, quite often we learn an awful lot, and we don't want to make the same mistakes again. So what I was going to ask is both to Alicia and to Gauri, what has been your experience of failure, and how has failure helped you in particular in your journey to success? So let's start off with Alicia. What is your take on that?
This is probably going to sound really strange, but I love failing. That sounds really crazy, but I fail every single day in certain things, and it's about going back to the drawing board and coming up with a new plan and coming up with something else to see if I can actually succeed. I mean, a couple of months ago, I was failing with something, and I actually called Gauri. Gauri was the first person. I was like, she's on a good time zone, not the American time zone. I called Gauri, ran it past her, gave me a different idea, gave me a different spin. I was like, okay, I'm going to try it. And guess what? Here I am. So I like to fail, because failure I see is actually a stepping stone to success, because you've got to take 2 steps back to get 4 or 5 steps forward. So I think if you want to succeed all the time, you're not going to succeed, because if you're always successful, what are you going to learn from that? What are you actually going to achieve? So I'm a big, huge proponent of failure. And I think you've actually got to fail every time that you do something, so that you can learn from it and then you can grow. I know that sounds crazy, but I actually do like failure.
Gauri, how about you? Do you enjoy failing?
No, I don't. I absolutely don't enjoy failing it. Yeah, and I have a terrible fear of failing. But I've been very lucky to surround myself with friends. Most of you out here are very seasoned Toastmasters. I know I met Lucky many, many years ago. My icebreaker speech, my first icebreaker speech, I forgot my own name. And I stood there blank for about 3 or 4 minutes until the Vice President of Education said, hey, your name is Gauri Seshadri, and don't you ever forget it. Today, as we came into the meeting and people started joining in, I started panicking. I started hyperventilating, because I'm really scared to speak in front of people. And I kept typing into the chat, Alicia, what am I going to do? I'm panicking. And Alicia is like, you'll be fine, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. So I think failure is okay. The fear is okay. Face it anyway and get past it. And then you're going to be much stronger every time you face a challenge. Every time you cross a mountain, that's another mountain crossed. That's what I'm
Yeah. So what makes us? Actually, I've forgotten the quote. Something other. What makes us stronger? Whatever.
Yeah.
Actually, we
what doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
Exactly right. What we do have, though, we do have now a couple of questions. We have a question from Patsy. This is to Alicia. What is your drive for participating TMC from different time zones consistently? I think that TMC must be Toastmasters, yeah. So what is your drive for participating in Toastmasters from different time zones consistently?
Well, the good thing about now that a lot of us are still on virtual is I get to see different faces. I get excited by different faces and different people. When I was just doing Australian Toastmasters, I was getting very bored because I was sick of hearing Aussie accents, because I think, sorry to say this, we sound a bit bogan and a bit redneck. So I wanted a bit, thanks, Rosie. Rosie agrees with me as an Australian. So I wanted to actually listen to different accents, go around the world, see exciting things, because I find being amongst people, as you can tell, I'm actually quite extroverted. I'm very, very extroverted. I need to be here, there, and everywhere. I need to see people. I need to be amongst the people. I need to be with different things. So 1 minute I'll be in Thailand, then I'll be in India, then I'll be in Malaysia, then I'll be in Singapore, then I'll be in the USA, then I'll be in Australia, then I'll be in New Zealand, and the list just continues going on. So I like seeing different people. For some people, this would be something that's very scary. Whereas for me, I'm just like, bring it on. I would rather be up at midnight at night going to Gauri's club in India than being asleep. And I'd rather be, dressed up as some strange character, which some of you have seen me dressed up as a strange character, and having a lot of fun. So I'm driven by people, and I'm driven by having fun and being out there and being crazy.
Thank you very much. That's a great answer to a difficult question. Now, there is one, I think we have time for just one more question. This question comes from, where is it gone? This one comes from Diana. Is there, and this is for both of you, so I think we should start with Gauri. Is there a time when you feel like, is there a time when you feel like, somebody's trying to talk over me, sorry. Is there a time when you feel like giving up, and how did you turn that feeling around? So let's start with Gauri.
Most of the time, or plenty of times, every time you face a challenge, you say, why does it happen to me? And I don't know about you, but I do. At least for the first 5 minutes, I go into this whole victim mode. Why does it always happen to me? Things were going well, and then this happened to me again, and I might as well give up. But I'm also a little bit of stubborn, that I want to give up on my own terms, not because something or some circumstances has forced me to give up. So even if I sign off from a company or from Toastmasters someday, it would be when I'm on a high or when things are good. So I'm not going to allow anybody else to force me to give up or to fall for the challenges. It's that spirit in me saying, hey, if you tell me I can't do it, then I will show you I can, sort of thing. That makes me
Alicia, we've got a few seconds left. Have you wanted to give up?
Every day. I want to give up. I want to give up because it's too hard. But then I realized I was elected to serve the member. I wasn't elected to give up. So that's what I have to remember. And it's not about me. It's about us and we. There's no I in me. So that's what it's about. Us and we.
Excellent. Awesome answer. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, both of you, Alicia, Gauri, for what I think was a very memorable session. I think I certainly learned a lot from listening to you. I'm sure everybody else listening in has. I think that's the end of our questions, I do believe.